till all are one.
Triple changers. They are but truly fickle things, are they not? By this point in the series, I have reviewed exactly 2 triple changers, and if all of you watched my review of Springer, you certainly know why it's not to my taste. And for those of you who did view my review of Siege 8-Face, you will know that I found it far more palatable. However, the figure was not without its issues. However, there's one triple changer that I did not acquire during Siege's forte, that being AstroTrain. Why I didn't acquire this is, well, it's down to several reasons. First and foremost being the price. The second hurdle that I had to jump in order to acquire AstroTrain was, unfortunately, availability. All the stores that I went into between the release of the wave of Siege that predated AstroTrains and Earthrise Wave 1 never ever possessed a single copy of the figure. And on top of that, my last resort store, Amazon, was selling the figure for around $80, and, well, while I wouldn't say that that was the worst price I've seen it going for,
but he is not worth an additional $30 US.
But here's the question. Is this AstroTrain worth the $50 price point and not a drop more or less? Well, I'm glad you asked. So with that out of the way, salutations denizens of the internet, I'm Firebite27, and let us commence our analysis of Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Earthrise Leader Class AstroTrain.
Oh yeah, Maya? Well, Hasbro says that as long as I keep making them buttloads of money, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. So, you can't tell me what to do.
Okay, Maya, please, try and get along right now. I am in the middle of recording a video.
Oh, Crimson gets dangerous. He's adorable.
Ugh. Yeah, B, I'm gonna agree with Maya on this one. That thing is disgusting. Just keep it the hell away from my computer, whatever you do.
Yeah, well, what's this? You get your own spin-off movie, then you can call the shots around here.
I don't really care how many blockbuster movies you've been the protagonist of. I'm master in this house, and you will do what I say. Ugh. Knew I should have taken that VPN sponsorship when I had the chance, and that this won't end well. But with that out of the way, salutations denizens of the internet, I'm Firebite27. Let us commence our analysis of Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Earthrise Leader Class AstroTrain. Now then, some might view AstroTrain Shuttle Mode as the weakest, but I don't really think so. I think it's the stronger of the two vehicle modes, and the reason why I prefer this mode to the train mode is, well, first off, I find shuttles a lot cooler than trains, and also because, well, it's the one that doesn't have any kibble. Unless you're an idiot like the photographer for this set, and forgot to cover up the head with the tail fin. Hello!
This also has the honor of being one of the best painted alt modes I've ever seen in my career. I mean, seriously, there's like these weird little red and yellow bits on the side, which I think could possibly maybe be a reference to the stickers on the original, but is more than likely just like a reference to the cartoon, I think. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. I also do have a ton of paint on the wing, as I feel that paint serves more of a purpose in terms of color correcting and also breaking up the purple of the wings. Which is a problem with Astro Trains of the past. Looking at you, Titan's Return! Now then, if you'd like to permit me a moment, I'd like, if I may, to briefly discuss the launch/carrying pad for the shuttle mode.
And in the supposed launch pad mode as provided by the instructions, it looks like, Wait, did I leave my henshin onsa in my pocket and when Mom ironed out my pants? I wonder if it still works. Yep, being set on fire seems about right.
It's not particularly impressive, but it does allow me to finally discuss the Earthrise airlock gimmick. Now then, the airlock gimmick, I'm not sure what that stands for, honestly. I can't be bothered to check the wiki for this. Is a recreation/reboot of the G1 Micromaster base idea. I'd say that the launchpad mode for this figure is an excellent display of this gimmick, as well as Deluxe Ironworks. Unfortunately, I cannot review him because I am missing a piece of him, and as I've stated before, I will not review a figure if a component is missing, and that component is a vital part of the vehicle mode. Overall, I'd say the airlock gimmick is an ingenious and creative update to the G1 Micromaster base idea, and overall, I think it earns itself a solid 7 out of 10. However, the reason it doesn't earn a perfect score is because of the first standalone ramp that was sold in Wave 1 in the Battlemaster class. Sound Barrier. And Barrier is a perfect word to describe this guy, because he is as dumb as Indus Tarbella.
My epithet is Barrier!
Now then, both as a ramp and as a robot, he doesn't look half bad. However, in functioning as a robot and a base, he falls completely flat on his ass. And by that, I mean the Micromasters can't roll up the ramp mode because it's too bumpy, and if you're wondering why I haven't shown you his entire appearance from the front, well... That's right, my first copy of this figure lost a leg, along with a bunch of other people's copies of this figure. But despite the fact that most of Wave 1 has been a winner, I'd have to say with total confidence that, well, Sound Barrier here is the one figure out of the first wave that completely and utterly sucks. I don't like to give him this rank because, well, I did enjoy him for the first week that I had him, but then he cracked apart, and, well, so has the clip for the ramp modes. The only thing that makes me even angrier about this is that people are buying this guy in bulk, and that kind of gives Hasbro and Takara the idea that we're okay with these figures being brittle as all hell, and I personally don't think we should be okay with that. I take issue with this practice in the same way that my friend Dr. Lockdown takes issue with the purchasing of multiple cogs and/or six guns. Yes, they can build great things when you buy multiples of them, but on their own, they aren't very good. I'm just hoping that the Double Crosser and Slitherfang Battlemasters fix this issue. This vehicle mode also has a bunch of weapon ports, and I bet Maya wishes she had a bunch of weapon ports right now since she's dealing with that army of Kremzeeks. Though on that topic, I'd wish they'd given us multiple rocket pods for this vehicle mode, because with just the one, it makes it impossible for me to balance out the two sides of the back, which is something I'd really like to do. Oh well, maybe if we get a, upgrade kit for the front of the vehicle mode, maybe we'll get lucky and it also can split into little pads that can cover up the back here and make it look evened out. Speaking of upgrade kits, I actually had a cool idea. Maybe we could get an upgrade kit that turns into an actual proper transport pad, as well as and in addition to that, also give us the rocket booster pads they have for actual shuttles at NASA, and also the scaffolding they use to launch the rockets, and also have the whole thing disassemble into a bunch of components that can be assembled into several bases that are compatible with both the Titan's Return Leader gimmick, and in addition to that, also splits down to a bunch of cargo cars that can be attached to the end of the train. But let's be real, that's never going to happen because it is way too expensive for a third party to risk several $100,000 in. Now then, before I wrap this section up, let's do some size comparison. Here's Earthrise Astrotrain next to last week's review, Siege Skytread, Siege Springer, Siege Apeface, Earthrise Ironworks, Earthrise Hoist, Earthrise Cliffjumper, Earthrise Wheeljack, a standard can of sparkling water, a standard Kusama, and Broadside. So overall, while appearance-wise it may look as though this vehicle mode is the weakest of Astrotrain's vehicle modes, it isn't. And yes, because this is a triple changer, let's get into the other mode and find out why. From the front and the sides, Astrotrain's train mode does look very good. Well, I mean, aside from the very dinky train cockpit up there. Okay, technically I have no idea what this part of the train is called, but this part of the train is a little small. We do have something though of a slight justification for this in that it's a battle train, which means that more than likely Astrotrain's train mode was blown to smithereens, then after that more bits of armor have been added to his vehicle mode. But despite the fact that it is disproportionate to the rest of the train mode, it's actually fairly well painted. In fact, all of this vehicle mode is well painted, though the front of the train does seem to be more of a matte finish rather than the glossy finish of the rest of the vehicle. But one thing I really do like about this paint is the fact that they've gone and picked out all the pipes on the side of the train with gunmetal. Speaking of gunmetal, from the back, this train mode becomes a little bit of a kibble explosion, but if this is literally the only sacrifice we had to make for the other two modes and their lack of kibble, I'm all the more for it. Besides, this piece of kibble ain't completely useless. In the fashion of ripping off a third-party Astrotrain, this Astrotrain comes with a coal car. It's actually the launch/carrying pad from shuttle mode. Just need to transform it real quick. And there. Oh wait, forgot to turn it over. It's also somewhat functional, as you can plug in all of the weapons that come with Astrotrain into this coal car and fold it up. Now then, I don't criticize gun/weapon storage often, but this is actually pretty clever and I do like it. Just helps me keep things tidy around here.
And with the coal cart attached, it unfortunately becomes a bit too long for me to display inside the light box.
Unfortunately, that means all of you will have to make do with me just showing the coal car and the train side by side. Sorry. However, I am more than happy to keep them detached in this mode because unfortunately, the coal car somewhat hampers the ability of the train mode to roll. In addition to this, they all roll well because almost all of the wheels are pinned in. However, the two that aren't pinned in are the front two wheels. And speaking of those two front wheels, the front two wheels are attached to the bumper, and you will have to push them down during the transformation in order to get them into place. However, the front left wheel, well, right wheel to you people, is somewhat deformed and doesn't spin all that well. I'm not sure why, but it bugs the heck out of me. But whatever you do, do not flip up the smokestacks until after you have pulled down this assembly. Otherwise you will scratch the plastic inside. But with that being said, I think it's time we did some size comparisons. Here's Earthrise and/or Siege Astrotrain next to both of Siege Skytread's vehicle modes, Siege Springer, Siege Apeface, Ironworks in loading bay mode, Earthrise Hoist, Earthrise Cliffjumper, Earthrise Wheeljack, a standard can of sparkling water, a standard Qtama, and Broadside. So overall, I do like Astrotrain's train mode, but it ain't my favorite. Wait a minute, is that copyrighted music?
Okay, first off, I'm pretty sure you're talking about Hammurabi's code, and second of all, I don't see why there isn't any reason why we can't come to a peaceful solution and just get along. Don't need to see that ever again, no thank you.
Now, Astrotrain, transform! Now, unlike many triple changers, Earthrise Astrotrain has an extremely fun and easy transformation.
In fact, I'll say this. This transformation is so fun and so simple that I'd like to go back to shell mode and start all over again. Oh, son of a bitch.
And while not known for being an especially limber bot, AstroTrain has every single essential piece of siege articulation. And to secure his position as a frontline fray freak, you get a rocket pod, a gun that references G1 I think, a minigun, and 2 phasers. Oh hey, I just built the combined weapon. Cool. Yes, it looks dumb, but as I've said before, I really like dumb combined weapons because it reminds me of Power Rangers. Though, let's be real, AstroTrain would definitely just use this gun to bully Micromasters into giving him their lunch money. I also gave him Galaxy Upgrade Prime's little shotguns, and I'm not gonna lie, this reminds me of Reaper from Overwatch, despite the fact that I've never played Overwatch in my life. Also, because this is a space shuttle and I feel obligated to make a Kamen Rider reference at this point, here are a few Kamen Rider Forze references. And this is actually kind of fun. Actually, this is really fun. Let's keep going.
Well, I can safely say beyond any shadow of a doubt that this attachment is completely worthless, just like the human that it is associated with.
Oh, so it's finally time for me to talk about this shit. I haven't been looking forward to this. These horrendous plastic slippers are basically Hasbro's attempt at satisfying scale fanatics in the fandom. And while I do respect certain scale fanatics in the fandom, honestly, scale as a concept is something that needs to be thrown into the garbage along with everything related to the BotCon Beast Wars timeline. No, I don't care that Hasbro endorsed that as canon. If you want to create mythology for a show or series, do it in the media of the show or the series. Don't send collectors on a wild goose chase looking for the timeline from a convention or a collector's club that is now defunct. In short, do not make your lore a convention exclusive. And to make matters worse, I'm not even convinced that these were made for the scaling in the first place. In the instructions, you're supposed to turn in the instruction sheet, you are supposed to turn the coal car into a backpack, which, in addition to being completely stupid looking, also makes the figure incredibly top heavy. So I'm more convinced that it wasn't even for scaling. It was just so they wouldn't topple over when you put on the freaking backpack. Overall, does this blemish ruin my perception of the robot mode or any of the other modes? No, but I have lost a little respect for them. But still, overall, I think that this piece is more than worth the $50 that it asks you for. It's got great articulation, great engineering, great paint, and not to mention great playability. Though, some of it is so dumb that only little kids would use it. Speaking of which, I should probably check on Maya now.
So, Maya, are you What the hell just happened? Okay then, Maya. Do you want me to get you a therapist or someone you can talk to? I'm sorry about that. B will certainly be getting a whipping eventually for this. Anyways, before I wrap up, let's do a few size comparisons.
Here's AstroTrain next to Siege Skytread, Siege Springer, Siege Apeface, Ironworks in robot mode, Hoist in robot mode, Cliff Jumper in robot mode, Wheeljack in robot mode, a standard can of sparkling water, a standard Qtama, and Broadside.
There were 3 reasons I wanted to do this review. First and foremost is, well, I really like this figure, and, well, reviewing it now just feels so nice. The second reason was because I reached 200 subscribers, and I wanted to commemorate this milestone with a special review. And it felt like a good idea to review a leader class, a figure class that I have not reviewed until now, to basically commemorate the event. And the third reason is far more personal, and that is, I kind of wanted to convince 2 people that haven't been sold on this figure to at least consider getting it. And those are my buddy Silver, who said first off is my buddy Silverfoil, who said he was satisfied with the Titans Return version, and the second one is the inspiration for this channel and something of a senpai for me. That's right, Thew Adams himself. And the reason is because, well, I nearly missed out on getting this figure myself. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this review, I basically was like, I'm not gonna buy this figure because it's too much money. But now, people buy this thing! I can't convince you or hypnotize you into getting this figure, but honestly, if you're not bothered by scale and just want a good fun action figure, like if your kids like Transformers and they're above the age of 10, get this figure for them. They will thank you to no end for it. It is amazing. I'll wish you luck tracking it down though, because it has gotten rather expensive, especially on Amazon. But whatever the case, I highly recommend this figure. And ultimately, I will acknowledge that I'm probably not going to convince Silver or Thew to get this figure, but at least take it into consideration. Also, Mastermind Creations and every other third-party company on the market that makes upgrade kits. If you do go through with my suggestion to make that upgrade kit that turns into the rocket scaffolding and so forth, please send a copy to me as a way to thank me for this idea. Not saying that it's necessary, but I do expect some credit for it. And in conclusion, it humbles me to present this figure with the most prestigious honor for this channel, a perfect score of 10 out of 10. Sure, it might not be for everyone, and this review definitely isn't gonna convince everyone, but the feeling I get from this figure is similar to how many people viewed Generation Springer, the first one, the Thrilling 31, in that this might be one of the best Transformers ever to date. And I cannot recommend it enough to any of you. And with that being said, I'd like to give a thank you to all of the 206 beautiful, talented, and most importantly, generous people who have subscribed to my channel over these past 2 years. It is an immeasurable honor that you all think I'm worth your time, so to speak. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all. Especially considering that we managed to exceed my initial goal of reaching 200 subscribers by July. And hopefully you can reach my goal of 300 by the end of this year. So, with that being said, please remember to like the video, share it with your friends, comment down below what you think of my long overdue haircut, as well as maybe your thoughts on this figure and if I managed to change your mind on it. Because I honestly hope I did. Again, I don't want to brainwash anyone into buying a figure against their will, but I want you all to use my channel to help yourselves make an informed decision about purchasing figures. That's kind of why I'm embarrassed of, well, my review of Siege 6 Gun. The only good thing about Siege 6 Gun is his weapon modes, and I was a bit overhyped about receiving him, so in that sense, I feel I did every one of you a disservice by telling him he was a good figure. And that's kind of why I reinstated the 2-week rule. Also, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell so you can see when I'm uploading the next episode. I've got no idea what I'm reviewing next, but I'd love it if you all could join me. That being said, this is Firebite27, over and out.